Yes, after so many days of expectation, so many days of lobbying, so many days of political calculations, and some people will say political miscalculations, um, especially in the APC, talking about the presidential primary, about 23 initially got the form. Eventually we had that some people have been screened. Then we saw, anyway, the presidential primary has come and gone, and of course we all know all the things that played out at the special convention. So this morning we want to look at APC presidential primary in retrospect, and we have two guests that should be with us. But for now, one is on his way. But we're happy that the head of department mass communication of Crescent University is here with us. That is talking about Dr. Kola Adesina. Dr. Adesina, you're welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning, my producer.
So today, let's start with him.
Hi, Dr. Kola, I'm sure you are part of the many Nigerians who were glued to their TV sets watching the APC presidential primary. Now, why that tension? Why do you think that primary commanded so much attention?
Yes, I think the main reason for that was that if you look at the country in the last few years, there has been a lot of suffering in terms of insecurity and some problems with infrastructure and all that. So people are already looking for who will come out and bail the country out from all this lack of infrastructure, the insecurity of lives, and so on and so forth. So, and number two, the two parties, the two major parties left their primaries too close to the deadline set by INEC. So there was a lot of coalition of interests, a lot of miscalculations, a lot of, I think, and then the social media also came in to do a lot of heating up the polity and getting people agitated and so on and so forth. So there was a build-up to that noise that you are talking about. So it's expected. For example, the main parties should have done their primaries 2-3 months ago to give them time to prospect and look for the running mates. So now they left it very close to the deadlines. They now have to, well, most of them are used to it, overnight meetings, meeting for 24 hours to try and get suitable running mates. So that is the injury that the parties inflicted on themselves.
Okay, go ahead.
I wanted to ask, so many issues came up before the primaries. We had the issue of consensus, the president asking to choose his successor, to denying he didn't mean that, to asking the governors to choose, to asking the candidates to choose. Now we had rumor of the candidates have been called to 3, called to 5. All those things have happened to build up to the. Were you expecting a consensus, or were you thinking that okay, they will vote the way they voted on Monday?
Okay, yes. Let's look at it from two angles. One is that I've in discussions with my colleagues here in Nigeria and abroad who are Nigerians, who are interested in Nigeria's polity, I've always told people that whatever conjectures or analysis that you are making, you must leave at least about 35% of your conjectures for the unexpected outcomes from politicking, from politics. So, and also, the advent of social media and the way we are handling it at the moment is not portending very well for good governance and good followership as well. There was a lot of rumor, there were a lot of lies, a lot of conjectures, photoshopping and all sorts of things on the social media. So when you don't have that atmosphere, the parties, I mean, the people in governance, the people who now wants to take governance from them and us, we depend a lot on some of the things we see on social media. And but eventually, the ash was thrown on our face to show that you can't depend on social media. There are no polling booths on social media. There are no PVCs on social media. There are no presidential aspirants on presidential candidate, the delegates, on social media. So look at where we are today. There were conjectures, there were permutations, there were calculations, but all of them were true in our face. Somebody, talking about APC primaries, somebody emerged with 60.4% of the votes.
Doctor, this cannot be the machinations of social media. A day or so to the primary, when meetings, calculations, a bomb dropped from the national headquarters of APC, credited to the national chairman, that having discussed with the president, naming somebody, Lawal, Senate President, as a consensus candidate, even though later presidential spokesperson denied that the president has any anointed or has assented to any consensus candidate. What does this make? I mean, how do you look at this scenario? What actually transpired? What do you think transpired? Or do you think that was a rumor too dropped by somebody?
No, it wasn't. But what played out, I think, is good for the future of Nigeria. What played out with that chairman, Mr. Adamu, was that he represents the old Nigeria. The old North must have it at all times, Nigeria. But fortunately, the outcome of the primaries has proved them wrong. Not only that, the 12 governors that then came up and said no, power must go to the South, has proved to the lie. And it has told Adamu and people like him in the North that power does not belong to any section of the country. People must go out and play politics, do your calculations, and go around and convince people and get them to vote for you. That is one good plus that came out of the APC presidential primaries. Adamu belonged to the past, and the old school. The results have shown him. You can see how dejected he was when Buhari was handing over the flag to the winner.
I wasn't watching that. It's your opinion.
You can see his shoulders dropping. You can see the body language. So there are so many people there whose body language could be read when Buhari was giving the flag to the winner. So he belonged to the past, and history and politics has cast him as a figure of the past.
Anyway, so whether we like it or not, a whole large chunk of the success of that primary definitely will go to the 12 northern governors. Do you think, some people are still saying what they did was not real. Some people are saying, well, just like you said, this is a new order. They are now beginning to see why Nigeria must remain united, why no part of the country must hold on to power at all costs. Your impression about what they did, and the 12 northern governors. Don't forget they had a meeting, and one of them who couldn't withdraw stormed out of the meeting, that is still contesting, that is the governor of Edo State. One was convinced to actually withdraw. He did, and of course they wanted to have a meeting with the party chairman. He was elusive, so to say, but eventually they addressed a press conference, and they said this is our stand, and it helped the success of the convention. How do you want to describe this attitude?
Yeah, thank you very much. The most basic of all human instincts is that of self-preservation. Starting with the eye, it is difficult to poke into the eye will always try to protect itself. What the governors have done is to have taken a cue from that. What they have done is they are politicians, they are the ones who are, their business is politics, their future lie in politics. The calculations there are based on their selfish in the positive way, in that they want to make sure that this dispensation, this democratic dispensation goes on, is alive. And if you don't now give power to the South, even the insecurity that we are talking about will be child's play, will be Christmas party. Going to what is going to happen when you now, after 8 years of Buhari, you now give power to another somebody else from that part of the country. There are 6 regions, 6 geopolitical zones, and 3 regions that we used to have in Nigeria. You cannot have it all and think that you will have it all the time. You can have it all at sometimes, but not all the time. The other governors, kudos to them. They have, in trying to be selfish, they have taken care of the life, of the existence of this democratic dispensation that we're talking about. So they have they told the president in very clear terms, and they also handcuff the president in terms of what to do, because first of all they went to the press with their declaration and everybody's signature before going to the president. That is when they say my hands are tied. They tied the president's hands in trying to play any game, either the Amadu was the chairman of the party's game or any game of his own. You cannot discard the opinion or rubbish the opinion of 12 elected governors in a vital part of Nigeria. So
before you comment,
yes.
Will you want to actually give it to the president of actually looking at situation on ground and adjusting to the situation? Don't let us forget that Study said that the president actually, if he was given the opportunity, wanted to, has his own candidate at heart. We don't know the candidate, and it might not be the one that emerged eventually. But you remember he told them, give me this opportunity to actually name my successor. I mean, give me that. But looking at the body language of the situation and of the contestants, and the aspirants rather, and of course the situation on ground, some other president will have still gone ahead to say, at least I'm the president. Whatever I say must stand. In that manner, you want to give a pass mark to President Buhari for adjusting to the situation and doing things that are required at the right time.
Yeah, thank you very much. In political communication, we identify 2 forms of silence. There is eloquent silence and silence of the graveyard. The eloquent silence is the kind of silence that even you are not saying anything, you are not voicing anything out, your body language, the way you carry yourself is very eloquent. Very eloquent. The president eventually did well. He did very well in listening, I would say in listening to the governors and listening to the cacophony of noise all over Nigeria that it must not be the North again. So the body in the last week, he tried to hide his feelings, and he succeeded a lot in trying to do that. But eventually, he had to bow to the wind of politics. He has to now bow to what will lead to his legacy. What kind of legacy does he want to leave? He eventually came out as the expected national statesman that everybody expects him to be. So there are, although if we depend on the noise in the social media, if you look at the social media in the last 2 weeks running in the run-up to the elections, there is a Buhari almost every day. There one Buhari today, another Buhari tomorrow. All kinds of Buharis being painted a picture of the Buhari who wants to perpetuate himself in power by putting his kinsman, the Buhari who wants to hand over to his deputy, the Buhari who wants to please the South by picking Amishi, the Buhari who wants all sorts of Buhari. So, but eventually, all that came to naught, and we have an openly elected.
So we had a Buhari who was just watching to abide
with his eloquent silence.
All right, I would like to ask, there are some sort of people that stepped down for the eventual winner of the contest, so to speak. And the question now comes to mind, why did they have to wait till that time to step down? Was it intentional? Was it political? Was it because somebody, Senator Nnamani, steps down from the race a day or two before the contest? Why did they have to wait till that dying moment to say, okay, I'm stepping down for Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Yes, I told the master's class, was it the day before yesterday, and then I quoted Shakespeare. He said, there is no art to find the mind's construction on the face. There's no way we could have gone into the minds of those who stepped down. We would try and do conjectures and up and down. But one thing that I saw was that by stepping down for somebody, they stepped themselves up in terms of keeping their person in view for future politics. Do you understand what I meant? They stepped down from the primaries, but they have stepped themselves up in the reckoning of the person who eventually won. If you look at all the people who stepped down, they are career politicians. They probably have done their calculations and there's no way they could have won. So instead of wasting those votes and then jeopardizing their future in politics, you would rather let me step down my votes, but step my own personality and keep myself in view for political calculations in the future. That is exactly what I have done. But we don't want to name names. Our former governor here, you can see what has happened in politics in the last 3 years, and look at what he did to himself on the national level, on the international level that day. He has endeared himself back into the minds of some people. And then the local politics was not very palatable for him. He has now gone national to go and win back, to bring himself back to the local politics. That is exactly what I've done. So politicians are very selfish people. They don't do things for people to benefit. First of all, they consider themselves first, although their consideration may then metamorphose into benefits for the people, but they always put themselves first. And that is people who stood down. That's what you will see in future, what I mean by that. You know what, when you keep yourself in view for the future, that was what they have done.
Okay, we're still discussing APC presidential primary in retrospect. As I told you earlier on, we should have to, our second guest is around, so you allow us to just take this break to allow him come in and of course be part of the discussion. Friday edition of New Dawn with Tunde Olaniran and Akim Akitunde. We'll be right back.
Do you know that you have the right to quality broadcasting? The National Broadcasting Commission says any person, group of persons, or organization aggrieved by the content of a broadcast or the conduct of a broadcast station may lodge a complaint to the station and all right to the Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, number 20, Ibrahim Taiwo Street, Asokoro, Abuja, or send a mail via info@nbc.gov.ng. Please ensure that your complaint includes name of the broadcast station, title of the program, date and time of broadcast, and essence of the complaint. Also remember to include your name, address, telephone number, email, and append your signature. Note that your complaint must reach the NBC within 14 days of the queried broadcast. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting.
Yes, welcome back. APC presidential primary in retrospect is what we are looking at. Mohammed Adebeshi, a public analyst, have also joined us. Sule.
All right, welcome to. Thank you very much. Now, we have been discussing the primaries, and I would like to ask you about the eventual winner. He came to Abeokuta, and the quote-unquote, the popular Abeokuta outburst. Now, how much has that helped?
Yes, I like that question. Was that outburst also, did that outburst play a part in rejigging?
Imagine. Yeah, I think, yes, played a major part, but it was a kind of risky venture, because ordinarily it's a function of the personality that's involved. If a nobody tries it, if a paperweight tries it, it may mar him. But Tinubu is not somebody that you can push over. He has built structure over time, he has built alliances, and politics is about interest. All the alliances has been made, all the outreach has been making across the country. Some stakes will have been discussed with some people. And I think that scuttles that goal, scuttles that stake. And I think he knows where to knock, because I think the strong powers, the strong governors in the north are in his lineup. So if you have Shetima somewhere, you have Ganduje there, you have
That of Kaduna?
yeah, you have
Erufai.
The current governor of Borno State.
Zulum.
You have that on your lineup. Those are people who can walk up to the president and say, my brother, this. So that is one. The second thing is that the conscience is an open wound. What he says looks like he attacked the personality of the president or whoever is involved, but underneath there are some truths, or it is the truth. So in YouTube they look at it that if those things were not true, they would have come out to debunk them almost immediately.
The best we had from the presidency was that it was the generality of Nigerians that actually made it possible. They did not deny the part he said he played.
Yeah, they did not deny it. And on the homestead, a lot of people felt, a lot of people had that premonition that they are not going to give in. That's the general premonition, that they are not going to give in, he's not going to get it. Forget it. We've seen that of we've seen that of Abiola, and that sentiment is flying around. So the people within the caucus, the Southwest contestants too, are having that consensus premonition that should only just come to Southwest. I'm sure Femi will be looking at it. I'm also looking at it. Ashibaju will be looking at it. Everybody is making their plantation. And one thing about the president is that it's something that is difficult to use body language. It's difficult to, so if you don't know when he's telling you, okay, go ahead, and when he's telling you, don't go. And the next minute when he's saying, I think I've changed my mind. Because he's a kind of person that a lot of forces have some degree of hold on it, and some personalities as well. But by and large, it's paid off for Ashwaji.
Now let us look at the results at the end of the day, were you shocked? Even though, yes, Tinubu won, but looking at the performances of some hitherto, for example, those from the southeast performed poorly, and we had quality delegates too, at least some substantial number of delegates from the southeast. What do you make of that? What do you make of the performance by voting? The performance did not meet the anticipation. I'm talking about Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, especially from what doctor said, what we have seen on the social media, and of course what we have seen here and there. What's your reaction to the eventual outcome?
Yeah, the eventual outcome, for me, it's not surprising. And I'll tell you why. Because our democracy, if you understand it, is an issue of software and hardware. If you follow your Twitter rating and social media polls, on the field, it is about grassroots, it is about structure, it is about deep pockets. Those factors are what plays out on the field. And I can tell you, if they talk about voter apathy, it is more with the elites. I knew that primaries, as long as, though it's unfortunate, because I had expected that maybe the APC will set a standard where they will, as much as possible, use the fact that they're in power to curtail the monetized primary. We know money is part of politics all over the world. But when the brazen show of it, that even it's no longer a secret, that it's not like horse trading. It's, as long as we continue to operate that kind of open, we act like it is, buying is part of the process. And it is so open. I don't know when people will emerge. Quote unquote, I'm not saying whoever may emerge may not know what to do with governance. But it will always throw up the highest bidder to a large extent. Because that played out at the primaries. That's the negative I saw about it. But beyond that, it was clear that it is about structure. Because even before the money thing started going around, we already saw the body language and the popularity of the candidates. Then on the issue of the Southeast, the Southeast case is, I don't say it's unfortunate, because they had 300 delegates. And not one. The highest they had was 30. That was mine. It was not mine. But when I almost spoke with so much passion, I was shouting, where is the justice? Where is the justice? Where is the justice? But people need to tell themselves the truth. Charity begins at home. And power is not served like meals at party, where you sit down and they come and serve you. You have to work for it. You have to make alliances. You know your weakness. You know your SWOT analysis. What is our population? What is our strength? Who do we need? What do we need? You work with all that. From the time of Nnamdi Azikiwe, let's go back history. The Southeast had hardly seen the Southwest as somebody it can run to. On the contrary, it has placed itself on equal rivalry. And it's often played, and the unfortunate thing is that the North, that is now the power broker, seem to have lost reasonable amount of trust in the Southeast, because they also haven't forgotten history from the first military coup and various historical events that are taking place between them. So the more they try to cut the North, the North prefers to cut the West. So in the whole scheme of things, the 300 votes from Southeast, I didn't know where it went to. Your 300 delegates, they didn't have it. The analysis is that they didn't vote for Tinubu. Neither did they throw it for Shibaju. So they must have thrown it majorly for Lawan. or perhaps maybe Amechi. But we know Amechi got some votes from the president's stronghold in the north as well. But all in all, the thing is, if we say it is turn of the South has to slug it out. We cannot give it on sentiment that Southeast has not done. You have to have invested in, if you are invested in PDP massively, then you should have gotten it in PDP. If you didn't get it in PDP, your investment in APC is not even up to what your investment in PDP. And you want to get it in APC, you didn't even play, you didn't play the card properly. Your candidate, your prime candidate did not go round. I don't think any Southeastern candidate went around. Tinubu was running, Shivaji was running around. Even Amos Biden, we are going around. That's how politics is about. That's how lobbying is. Lobbying is part of politics. You have to, even as if I come to your house to meet you, you feel honored. This person regards me as important. You didn't go to anybody. You didn't go around and you start somewhere shouting justice, justice, justice. It doesn't apply to power like that. That's my opinion.
All right, let me ask Dr. Additional. Atiku has been contesting now for nothing less than 3 times to be the president. The incumbent president, President Buhari, contested nothing less than 3 times. And Ashwaji Tinubu is saying this has been my long-term ambition. He's going there for the first time. In your opinion, with what you've seen in the primaries, do you think you'll be lucky in first time attempts?
All right. Thank you very much. That brings me back to the first question you asked my co-guest about the Asiwaju Bola Tinubu factor in Nigerian politics. I remember they said during the AWU that there's only one question then, that it's either you are for AWU or you are against him. Tinubu, I'm not comparing him to Awolowo and Sani, but he is the question now. He has posed himself as the national question in Nigeria today. You can see the cacophony of noises from all over the country. I used to tell my students when we are doing analysis, the politics that the Southwest used to play in the past is to just cocoon ourselves in Southwest, win all the states, then it was Lobo states, and then pretend, and then say, well, we have won Nigeria. But when the results started coming from other parts of the country, everything will go into places. So people are talking about the handshake across the Niger. I even extended beyond that. What Tinubu has done before just done more than just a handshake. He has taken himself, the whole body across the Niger. I mean, I'm talking about River Niger. It's not just handshake. He has built camps. He has gone into people's minds. He has helped people. He has held meetings and strategic meetings with people all over Nigeria. So he has been preparing for this for about maybe 20, 30 years. Maybe Nigeria's politics is coming to age, the age of people who are actually prepared for the post, getting there, and then working himself or herself around the clock to make sure they got there. In the past, what we used to have is either a president who got there by appeasement, or somebody that was either by appeasement or retired military rulers. But for the first time, we have a civilian who worked for this thing for over 20 years, who has shown that he has the capacity to win minds and hearts across the length and breadth of Nigeria. So he has done it. So you're talking about Atiku. I want to see how PDP will structure their campaign in selling Atiku, in selling somebody else another person from the north to be president against a Sasha of a man like Tinubu. What are they going to say? Are they going to say that what Atiku is now working directly opposite what the 12 governors of the APC have done. The 12 governors of the APC did not say power must go to the south. Atiku is saying no, it must stay in the north. PDP is saying it must stay in the north. There is no way that will not come into the equation when campaigns starts. I don't know what Atiku is going to sell. If he say he's going to pick a candidate from the southeast, remember that Peter Obi is already in the Labour Party as another candidate. So whatever Atiku has there will be shared between him and Peter Obi as the candidate of the Labour Party. So by picking, no, I won't say pick, by Asiwaju winning the primaries, he has put the APC in the front row in terms of the morality and ethics of what to say during campaigns.
Okay, Mr. Adebesha, how much of morals or morality will come in, or do you see coming in? I think President Buhari, it was North versus North. Atiku?
Yeah.
Yes. But it's a kind of dimension. It doesn't really matter the party now. We have to believe that some Nigerians, it doesn't really matter. Okay, this is from, contrary to what Dr. Kola Adesina said, this is our man. It doesn't matter the party he belongs to. Could still play out. Now, what do you see? This is definitely a test ground to look at how the election is, for the two parties. PDP sticking with the northerner, APC coming up with the southerner. What are we likely to see?
I think I would first want to say PDP did not stick to the northerner. I think I would say Atiku outplayed PDP because their body language, the way they were pushing for it, was that they also wanted the southern candidate. But they are not lucky to have a kind of the 12 governors of the north that stood their ground in APC. Because APC, some powerful individuals in the north in APC wanted to play that card as well. It was only not successful. And as we'll be doing another analysis now. So APC was fortunate to have that. The PDP was not fortunate enough to have that because of the factors that play. Atiku alone is a single major factor in the PDP, and with Tamboa playing the way as well, they had it. Now beyond that, it is moral that the presidency should come to the south. But people have their sentiments, and even when people's sentiments are not strong, you can sell sentiments to them and they buy it. So that is really going to play out now, because down south we are more elitist. Even the average businessman or trader on the street has some elitist tendency, which seems to show some kind of higher level of civility, kind of bit of it. But there's the bandwagon follow effect in the north. It is still very effective in the north, and that is why predicting the way it will go. Fine, the APC is presenting Asiwaju, and Asiwaju is a person that has bought into the hearts of the northerners. And what I would like you to note, in politics, sentiment sells. If you observe Asiwaju, he has been observing Jumat at the National Mosque frequently. He has gone on Umrah, he has gone on this. Apart from he's a Muslim, that is. But when it comes to winning the election, you have to bring to the table all factors that will build positive sentiments for yourself. It's like the media thing. You have to advertise yourself positively. I think he's doing that to woo more support from the north. And luckily for him, he has built bridges.
There are insinuations that the Southeast could actually get it right at the Labour Party, where we now have a Peter Obi. Now, the question is, definitely the whole Southeast voting for Peter Obi at the Labour Party does not win him the presidency. Do they have what it takes to canvass for votes from the southwest? That's the southeast now. From the southwest, south, and from the north?
I think
You also answer it. Both of you will answer it. Go ahead.
okay. The thing for me, in the permutation of who becomes the president of Nigeria today, politics today, the Southeast is heavily disadvantaged. Because, number one, Obi in Labour Party. Labour Party is not, Nigerian politics, we understand that it is. Labour Party is not that a strong party that has that structure and the wherewithal to go out. Let's not forget that there's the unspoken part of power play in this party thing as well. Incumbency, number of governors you have, the number of senators and all that. Power play is part of it. Then apart from that, the Southeast has the highest voter party. IPOB will declare seat at home. IPOB will declare seat at home. It will affect the votes from the Southeast. And apart from that, even the population of the entire Southeast, if they vote, is just a few hundreds over Kano. Yes, go and check it. The entire 5 states of Southeast. And even now, go and check voters card collection in the Southeast. So let's even leave the population. Let's go and check voter card collection. You can't vote more than the number of voters card collected now.
Okay. If you don't have much time, you want to react to that too?
Yes, quickly, it won't be too far from what he has said. You cannot, he said, the politics or political positions are not served a la carte, that you just sit down based on sentiment and passion. Some people will work overnight, work over the weekend, everywhere going, and then they will then come and present the presidency or anything to you. No, you have to work for it. The Southeast have not worked for that in the last 10, 15 years. And fortunately for them, they do not have enough clout to force PDP to pick a candidate there. They invested so much, they invested heavily in PDP. That is where they should have gone to reap. Now, by coming to APC, it's like coming to a farm where you have not sowed. So, and like you said, the IPOB, all these seats at home and everything will not seriously affect them. Even by now, even if IPOB did not do not declare stay at home, it's already in their people's mind that IPOB is against elections. Even if IPOB says everybody comes out, they will still not come out because people are fear for themselves. They don't want to be killed. And do you have enough policemen or soldiers to man every polling booth in all the 774 local governments in Nigeria, not to talk of Southeast? So I don't know how Peter Obi will try to outmaneuver the IPOB and the sentiments they have created in South. Look at what Soludo did. Soludo came in with the hope and with the belief and the anxiety that, well, I'm going to talk to them. He went to go and meet Kano, he did everything. But before he came back from Abuja, one legislator was slaughtered. So it's I don't see how the Southeast will emerge from this lose-lose situation. PDP didn't fail them. There is no Labour Party has no structures outside of Southeast. Maybe here and there was a noise about Mimiko and Labour Party maybe 10, 15 years ago. So where is that anymore? Where is the Labour Party in Ogun State? Where is Labour in Lagos?
Well, this is a discussion that definitely will continue to reverberate, so to say. It's not the end because we are marching towards political election. It's now for the two major parties now. Even Obi is about the running mate. A whole lot of issues will be playing out. Ranks will be closed, flanks will be open. Some people will. Anyway, we want to thank our guests for this turning out for this discourse. Dr. Kola Adeshina, HOD Mass Communication, Christian University. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. And of course, my brother, Mr. Mohammed Adepeshi, a public analyst. I want to appreciate you so much for coming onto the program. Of course, we're still here. We have another set of guests that will be coming in now for something very also very important. It's still the Friday edition. We have New Dawn with Tunde Olaniro and Akim Akintunde. When we come back, it will be Akim Akintunde alone with our next guest to talk about something sporty, so to say.
I am a responsible student.
And I respect the values of my community.